Welcome to another episode of the Steal a Moment podcast with me, Michael LeBois. Today's guests are Nick Searlstead and Daniel Lundgren from the band Noija out of Sweden. These guys are fantastic. If you haven't had a chance to check them out, I highly recommend it. All of the links will be in the description below or in your description of the audio podcast. These guys and I talk about their most recent record, Through Fire, All Things Are Renewed, and what's coming out for them on this Friday, when this episode releases, an album of all Swedish songs. For their first time ever, they are releasing a Swedish song for an album called Songs for Life that is part of the Zero Suicide Foundation. Through Fire, All Things Are Renewed is a very heavy record about the topics of suicide and thoughts of depression and fighting those feelings. And Nick and I get into a very deep conversation about that. We talk a lot about their creative process and what it's like to have to write right now. Also, how different it is for Sweden as well as it is here during this time of coronavirus and everything that we're dealing with on that end as artists. We discuss a little bit about what they do outside of music as well, but mainly it's a pretty direct podcast about the creation of everything and of the music that we work on and the things that we do together. So I am very happy to have had these guys on, and I loved the conversation, and hopefully we can get Ludwig and Max, the guitarist and bassist, in as well for another interview sometime in the near future. I would love to talk to these guys again as they are getting ready to start recording some new material. Also, not Ludwig, I apologize, Daniel. Daniel talks about his dad, who's also a musician, and the style of music he plays. I've looked up, and it is quite interesting, so you guys should check it out when we get to that point. Glad to be back in a regular schedule again. It's good to be back on making sure we can get everything done and out for you guys every week. Got some exciting guests coming up in the next couple of weeks as well, which I'm really looking forward to. Some interviews I have yet to do, so I'm excited to see how those turn out as well. But if you guys are new to the channel, I highly recommend you like, comment, and subscribe. It gives me opportunity to see the algorithm take over a little bit more. Also, I'm going to be starting a once-a-week Twitch stream where I will be playing games with either friends or doing some play-by-play, which I think will be a lot of fun. I'm excited to do some of that and see how that works out. But that'll be at Daywalker1524, which is my handle on Twitch and PlayStation. So if you guys ever want to, follow me and see what I'm doing, hit me up. I don't play a lot of shooters. I don't do a lot of that kind of stuff. But we'll see what comes up in the next couple of weeks. I'm actually going to be doing some stuff with Mosaic, who I mentioned a couple weeks ago as my YouTube channel of the week. If you guys haven't had a chance yet, go ahead and head over to Gunpowder Empire's YouTube page. We have some new material coming up for you guys here real soon. Sean and I have been working on some crazy fun stuff, including a couple covers. And we're doing a fun cover I can't wait to get started with. He's been working on it a little bit. And we're also getting ready to start recording some new material. We have some recording time coming up here this year sometime. We haven't set any dates yet, but when I do, we'll get some footage out for you guys and let you guys enjoy that as well. The YouTube channel of the week is back this week, and I'm going to shout out a channel that I've recently just been kind of binging through because there's some interesting content on there. It's A. Marie by the Sea. Anne Marine is a member of the Theory team. If you guys have never seen any of the Theory channels, those will be featured here in the near future. They are fantastic, but she's an interesting character. She likes to develop characters for Dungeons and Dragons. She does costume designs for different things. She made herself into a Christmas tree this year, which I thought was really interesting. And things like using your old candy from Halloween to make a birthday cake. So if you guys get a chance, head over there, throw her a little subscribe, give her a little love, comment that we sent you there, and everything will be great. it's kind of a tough time in the world right now. So I hope that this episode is a positive distraction for you guys. With that being said, Nick, Daniel, and I would like to steal a moment. The joys of doing these international interviews. The time frames are different, so I have a job, and I had to work on that this morning, and then taking my lunch break to get you guys in here. So I appreciate you making some time as well. So thanks.
No worries, no worries. It's kind of a really good dedication of you to do it on your lunch break.
Yeah, I've been so I found you guys through Dreambound, which is kind of a really cool YouTube network that I've found a lot of really good music through. And so when I started listening to you guys, I was like, oh man, I love this style, love this sound. And then what really hit me was the last record you guys just released, Through Fire All Things Are Renewed, has a really, really cool message behind it. And as a musician, I really related to it. As somebody who also deals with my own versions of mental illness and things like that. So tell me a little bit about the story behind it, and then what you guys kind of saw from what since you've released it, what have you guys kind of found and a response from your fans and people in general?
Wow. I think it can start.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
my internet is a bit messy right now.
It's all good, man. But
sorry.
Did you get the question?
No, I actually didn't hear it. I heard you were talking about the album Through Fire.
Yeah. So as somebody who's also a musician and also deals with my own variants of mental illness and dealing with depression and those tendencies, and also losing a family member to suicide in the past. This album really spoke to me. Oh, thank you. This album really spoke to me as a whole from beginning to end. And so what has the response generally been from your audience and the people who've really gotten a chance to listen to it?
Well, first of all, it's been amazing. People who've been listening to, we got a lot of new listeners, but also the people who've been around since we released our first album, Colorblind, also thinks that this new album is like way better, if you know what I mean. They feel like this album is more genuine and has a bigger meaning behind it in some way. It's much more emotional and darker, but yeah. So I think
like much more honest, I can say from a perspective where I joined the band when most of the music for the first album was already written, basically, and that was kind of a trial and error period of Noija as well, like trying to find our wings, kind of, and just trying out different things and sounds, and trying to find our sound, basically. And then I think we evolved into that with Through Fire in a whole new way. But so that's why I think so many people are saying that they feel like it's more like cohesive and more honest and much more a lot deeper than our first album.
Yeah.
I would agree. I did enjoy Colorblind a lot. That's why I stuck around and stuck with you guys as well.
Thank you.
But I do also love the imagery of your music videos, the scenery and the spaces that you shot them in. Specifically, the one that stands out to me right now is Bleak. Was that shot in a church or like?
Yeah, that was. It was actually the whole this album cycle when it comes to the music videos. It's been pretty much Max, who's done like all the. He's the brain behind the videos, basically. He's been planning them, and he came up with this really cool concept that we used from Crawling to My Skin, Broken Glass, and Runaway.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also, I think that church was. He went. I don't know exactly what it's called in English, but he went to that church as a kid.
Oh, like his parish?
No, it's not. Konfirmation, Danne.
Yeah, it's like we have this thing in Sweden where you're like, when you're like 13 and 14, you go through this like confirmation thing to the church, like that you're, that you want to be a part of the Swedish church. Basically.
Oh, okay, yeah. In English,
like
it would be confirmation.
Confirmation, yeah. So that's the thing. So that's basically what he did in that church, and it was beautiful, the location. So it fitted perfectly for the music video.
Yeah,
Sorry, internet.
It's all good, man. I totally understand. Internet is strange in every location wherever you are.
Yeah, it just disconnects it happened twice now.
Yeah. So I also noticed when we were talking earlier, Nick, you guys are a part of a compilation record that's also going to Suicide Zero, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
I looked up the translation for English, and it sounds like the translation in English for the record is "Lazy for Life," but I have a feeling that's a very bad translation.
No, it's basically songs for life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think that's a correct translation.
Yeah, I might have typed it in wrong because I didn't have access to the accents.
No worries. No, but I think it's songs for life, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's
so
really cool.
It's gonna be cool. I think it's actually 1 month from today.
Yeah, I just I looked that up on your Instagram, and I was like, oh, sweet, it is a month from today.
Yeah. So it's pretty soon, actually. It's gonna be fun, and it's gonna be different as well because we've never done a song in Swedish.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
So how do you what would you say is your writing process? Like, I ask a lot of musicians this question because it's different for everybody. Like for me, for instance, we generally come up with a skeleton together as a band and then kind of build off of that skeleton, grow into a full song. If we are honest with each other, we tell each other that it sucks and we can fix it.
Yeah.
But do you guys usually come in lyrics first or music first? Or both?
That kind of varies. Sometimes it's Ludwig is actually the one who's producing most of the music because he's often in the studio, but sometimes it's just like, for example, Crawling to My Skin. I woke up and had this melody on my head, and I just sent it to Ludwig, and he was like, yeah, pretty cool. And it took about a couple of hours, and then he just sent me the entire song, just like instrumental parts. So that's like one way to write, just like send an idea and we like push it back and forth. And then, I don't know. And sometimes we have like writing sessions where we just go to the studio and we just try to spend a weekend there or something.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah. So that's, it's often it's a melody. It starts with a melody or just a lyrics.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Daniel, you have a very aggressive style. Like I've noticed that the way that you play has this like it bridges kind of a gap between like what I would classify as metalcore and then sort of has that nice like almost blues feel to it in certain parts. Who are some of your influences on the drum side of things? Where do you get some of your feel from?
Wow. Like I definitely come from like a metal background in drumming, for sure. Like I started off like playing drums because of drummers like Joey Jordison from Slipknot and what else? Yeah, Metallica, Lars Ulrich, of course. That was definitely like the initial inspiration for playing drums. But I don't know, just coming from like that aggressive music scene, like metal, pop punk, and rock, and all that kind of stuff, and then adding that into the mix of what becomes Noija, which is like an emotional kind of alternative rock band with metal influences, basically. I think I don't know. Like from my own perspective, I really like that mix, and I think it makes for a very like energetic sound.
Yeah,
and a lot of like details with cymbals and accents and stuff like that. But also, I'm gonna be quite honest here. Like Ludwig writes really good drums, like from a demo stage, and then he really challenges me with the stuff he writes. So I'm very happy to be playing drums that he's been writing, basically.
That's really cool. The one that stands out to me the most, like for me personally, is In Bleak as well, which is ironically not my favorite song on the record.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the one that stands out the most. That really aggressive cymbal breakdown at the end of the first, I think it's the first chorus.
Yep.
It's like just kick and crash. And that has such a cool like feel to it for the overall song.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's something that came like with the demo that Ludwig made for that song.
Okay.
That we definitely kept because it sounded sick, so we decided to go with it. And then of course I make my changes, and sometimes Ludwig may have written in like 3 hits at the same time, like it's a little mishap, but he's very good at it still. So yeah.
Yeah, that's
sometimes
why you can't.
It's like you need 4 arms.
That's why you can't always let a guitar player or even a good musician write drum parts on a computer, because sometimes they forget that you only have so many limbs.
Yeah.
So my personal favorite song on Through Fire is Meaning to Your Pain. Literally the first time I heard it, I was like, I have to listen to this again. I had to stop listening to the record. I started it over and I listened to it again. The chorus really stands out on that one specifically, just because of the imagery of like the use of colors and structures. What was kind of the feeling behind that one when you guys put it together?
Actually, Meaning to Your Pain was the last song we wrote for the album. And I remember we were kind of stuck. We didn't really have any inspiration at all. And then we just decided to start from scratch, basically. And I think it was like Ludwig found this synth. And then I just told him, like, wouldn't it be cool with kind of like an intro, just the drums banging like... And we just took it from there. And then I remember... Yeah, you were also in the studio then, Daniel.
Yeah, he's...
Sorry, guys. I just had to tell my dog to not eat my cat. Come out like that. I hope this is not going on video.
I can cut it out, no problem.
Way to get some Swedish in there as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like a week we spent in the studio together, like sleeping there we're just staying there for a week.
And with your cats as well.
Yes.
Yeah, your cats came along to the studio.
That was not that time, but anyway.
Oh, it was a different time. Sorry.
Yeah. But I remember it like the last couple of days. Like it was sick. It was a sick time. Just spending so much time together and like working on the album, and just like I don't know. We finished up so many songs in that time. But I think we were all very like frustrated and tired at the end as well, and like so emotionally drained because making music is it's freaking hard, especially when it's about the topics that we're dealing with. Mm-hmm. So I remember that song as like a very frustrating part of the recording of the album, but still a very good song nonetheless. So yeah,
I can definitely feel that. I know that feeling all too well when you've got everything put together minus maybe 1 or 2 songs, and then you put yourself in this position where like you're so emotionally drained, you're physically drained because you've been putting so much into this, and then eventually you're just like when it comes together though, it feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in a band called Gunpowder Empire.
I haven't had time to check you out yet. I was actually thinking about doing it after the podcast.
Oh, perfect. Fantastic.
Have a listen. So
but we started out as an acoustic project back in late 2018, early 2019, and released an acoustic album called This Time with Feeling. And the two songs that I wrote primarily vocally or lyrically are songs that are just really personal to me. About one of them is about my brother and like dealing with the grief of losing someone to suicide at a young age, and dealing with like the guilt of survivor's guilt that comes with that from time to time. The other song is called Silence, which is actually about being ghosted in a relationship, but finding out that it was better for you because you learned to grow from it and kind of find your own voice through their decisions to leave you, essentially. But those two songs, like especially Least Resistance, which is the song about suicide, I literally cried in the booth, like while recording one of the really aggressive parts of the song. And it's interesting to have those emotions still. It's been 10 years, but like, it's still close to the chest.
of course, yeah.
When you get set to play these songs live, do you still get those emotions? Do you still get those feelings when you're singing these parts? And like, is it sometimes, are there certain, let me rephrase that. Sorry. Is there certain songs that you don't feel like maybe you'd be able to play live right now?
Actually, we haven't really played since we released Through Fire when the pandemic was like active.
Right.
That it still is. But so we haven't actually played any of those songs live besides our live session. But I know that I still sometimes have a hard time with. I remember when we recorded Runaway, when we recorded the final vocals for it. It was kind of that was kind of tough, because it just kind of gives you this. You get this like heavy chest from recording.
No.
Yeah, that song's a heavy song in general.
It is. It's like definitely like the softer song on the album, but like lyrically and like the meaning and the whole vibe, it's so yeah.
Oh, come on.
There you go. We hear you. There you go.
Good internet, please. Here we go. Sorry.
It's okay. But you still get that heavy in your chest.
Yeah, you get this heavy feeling in your chest when you're recording it, and just like when you sing it as well. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of tough sometimes because you try to write something that's very personal, and I remember especially Runaway was very scary for me and for us to release, because that was basically me opening up about when I started to feel lost. When I started to feel that like one part of me was just leaving me, and I was just left with my darker side, and that I'm kind of like understood why that part of me just had to leave, because what I was doing and what I've been doing with myself wasn't like what do you say?
Healthy.
Yeah, it wasn't healthy at all. It was just basically destroying me. So yeah, I think sometimes that, and also we have an old song. I don't know if you heard it from our album Colorblind. It's called Pictures. It's just like a piano song basically.
Yeah.
But that one, sometimes when I just like put it on, I can still get this like lump in my throat. It feels kind of like, I don't know. It's emotions, so it's kind of like a roller coaster to sometimes go back and listen to some songs. Yeah,
I can.
I said when we lost you there that although it is one of the more like softer songs, more poppy songs, not so heavy and heavy on the rock end, so to speak, it's definitely like one of the more emotional songs, like for me still to listen to. And also now that you mentioned pictures, it's the same. It's just a piano track with vocals on it.
Yeah.
But still, it's like so tough to listen to.
Yeah, it is. It's yeah, it's basically when I was around 16 and when I first started to have this anxiety or just feel like some kind of depression and starting to have bad thoughts, and it's really scary the first time because you've never felt it before, because as a kid I was always this really energetic and positive person, and then the first time you felt it, it was just like, what is this? I have no idea. So it's basically just about starting to feel that, and to like the first time you go to see a psychiatrist. Sorry. Yeah. So
I relate to that so much. It was the same way for me. Mine was kind of stemmed from internal family problems that happened that led to like my childhood essentially getting evaporated in a short period of time. And then not handling it well through 14, 15, 16, all the way up really into my 20s. And then I'm 34. So I, over the last few years, have spent some good time with a psychologist and really worked through redeveloping healthier coping mechanisms and habits on how to handle my anger, my frustration, those feelings. And a big part of it has been finding things like music and outlets like writing to kind of help change that. But I've a couple other questions for you guys. So outside of music, what are you guys into? Like, are you gamers? Are you sports fans? Are you do you do anything outside of music? Do you build things? My guitar player makes wood sculptures and like makes things for his girlfriend all the time. And I'm a gamer, and then I also have this podcast outside of my music world. I'll recite the rest of it when Nick gets back.
Apparently, what my spare time is to get internet. That's what I'm
doing. All the time, like searching for internet, Wi-Fi 100.
Yeah.
What, you guys don't have 5G yet? What's going on?
Oh, it's killing birds. Haven't you read the news?
But Daniel, you go first. What are you into outside of the music world?
Guys, I spend a lot of time working out, like fitness, and especially CrossFit at the moment is my like big side thing, so to speak. Especially these days now that we haven't like spent as much time with and about the band. Because of the pandemic, there's not that need anymore to be rehearsing so much because there isn't any live shows. So that's what I've been doing a lot lately. And then me and my girlfriend also recently got a dog that I told you earlier. So spend some time on him as well.
Fantastic. What about you, Nick? What do you do outside of the music world?
I also try to work out as much as I can. I used to be way more into it before it was like 6 times a week, and then I kind of like put it on the shelf a bit, and then my belly started growing. So now I'm actually getting back into it, and I'm starting to enjoy it a lot as well. It's kind of one way to ventilate also with the emotions. Sometimes it's just real nice to just put on some nice music and just lift some weights basically, and just clean your head basically. But then I'm also I'm a bit of a gamer, so I've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft right now.
Okay.
Since the new expansion came last Monday, and actually right now I'm trying to practice a lot of piano because I want to be really good at it. So I'm trying to do that every day, and and that's basically what I do. And I work at a grocery store as well. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
It's super fun, man.
Yeah, no, it's all about the life that allows you the freedoms sometimes. Daniel, do you have a job outside of the band?
Yes, I'm currently working in a clothing store, but I just signed my leaver a couple of weeks ago. So I'll be starting working at a Swedish insurance company.
Oh,
Yeah, what do you call it? But basically, I will take the calls of people who have trouble with their cars.
oh, okay, right on.
Yeah.
Customer service.
Customer service, yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome, man. Those are both much needed jobs, especially this day and age with everything going on in the world right now. Where I currently live, we are in a stay-at-home.
Where do you live?
I live in Denver, Colorado, in the USA.
Denver, Colorado. Okay.
Yeah. So we are known as the gateway to the Rockies. We have mountains and plains. We get snow every once in a while. Marijuana is legal here, which is like the biggest thing that everybody talks about with us. We were the first state to legalize it for recreational and medical use in the United States. And it actually is heading to our Senate. The House just passed to decriminalize it. But now we have to get it through our Senate. And once that's passed, it could potentially be available for the entire country to at least not have to worry about getting like petty crimes. It's still federally illegal to have it, but it's not, it would like have a fine attached to it instead of something else. But yeah, where we are right now is we're in what's called a stay-at-home order, which is essentially everybody should choose to stay at home if they need to. Restaurants are closed for in-house dining, but we're seeing like a major impact in our music scene here because our venues haven't been open for pretty much the entire year. We've been stuck in this position where, like, as musicians, we are, relying on our day jobs to keep us afloat, and then those of us who were musicians by profession here are just trying to figure out what to do next. What are you guys seeing there? Like, obviously it sounds like venues are still closed. You guys aren't really allowed to play live shows right now still. And what is it looking like for when that could potentially change?
I think it's kind of been a bit back and forth. I know there's, we were supposed to play, I don't know if you've heard of the band called Imminence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were supposed to play a show with them in our hometown. Or, yeah, basically, it's the town, closest big town for us. It's Malmö.
Okay.
We were supposed to play there with Imminence this month, actually. But it got canceled. And I know that venue has been kind of like back and forth. They had to close once, and then they could reopen again. And then they couldn't have any concerts. And it was maximum 50 capacity. And then now they had to shut down, like, I think it was last week or something. So it's been kind of back and forth, but there's no big events going on at all. And yeah, so I actually don't know. We had some shows planned for next year, but everything has been postponed or canceled. It's kind of boring. It was, we had a pretty fun tour coming up, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's been not so bad for us, like, economically, because we don't make any money off the band anyways. But still, still a sad position to be in. But for sure, we have, like, our friends that definitely try to live off the music. They still have jobs, but they definitely also rely on having some income in the band. And, they're having a hard time. And my father is a professional musician, and they are not playing. They're not working. They're at home, and they've been since the start of the year, basically. And they have, like, no answers to when they will be able to start working again. So it's tough.
It is tough. And it's interesting because it kind of, I feel like this time has forced some of us, at least in the US, and I've talked to another musician from Australia who have kind of taken this time to really try and make something bigger. Essentially, like, since we don't have time to, like, play out live, do those things, that we look to kind of take this time to create more and develop more. Have you guys kind of taken any opportunities to really do that? Maybe start prepping for the next record or start writing and creating new stuff? Or obviously, I mean, generally we don't stop creating, but
No, but yeah, actually, we actually been talking about that a lot and try to use the time that we have, because I mean, like we have to stay at home. We can't like leave the country. We can't play shows, so we have to do something. And we've actually been talking about entering the studio from January. Ludwig has had a lot of mixing to do, like working with other bands as well. So when he's done now in January, we're gonna start entering the studio. So in that way, we're still like doing something and being creative. Yeah, I kind of miss doing it. It's been a while, so there will be a lot to write about. Yeah.
It's definitely one of those things. Like I've noticed that a lot of bands have really tried to take this time to either create stuff that wasn't there before or work on what's already present. I definitely think it sucks because we really want to play like the stuff we've written live and get a feel for what the audience feels like and how it feels. But I don't think that is, unfortunately, it's not an option right now. So we kind of have to figure out what we want to do on that front. Have you guys thought about doing like live stream shows? I think you did one digital festival, right?
Yeah.
How have you guys felt about maybe doing live stream shows and things like that? Or are you guys just not able to really be around each other all that much right now?
We potentially could, like, there's no restriction saying that we can't do a live stream show, but I don't think it's something that we've talked about it like before it wasn't in the start of the pandemic. We talked about it maybe. I don't remember, but we have talked about doing it in a way. And yeah, I think it's just a matter of priorities for us. We haven't prioritized doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it's just like because we've kind of been in this period right now where it's been hard for our personal schedules to kind of match each other. So it's been hard to find just dates like, sometimes I remember like some of the music videos we recorded, it was just it was hard to find a date that everyone could be free from work, or they were just at home or something. So I think it's just like we're trying to use the time we have to, I don't know, like write new music instead. But yeah, we did one festival, and yeah, I mean, it was pretty fun. It wasn't the same thing, but it was kind of nice because I was sitting at home and watching it, and I was talking to some other friends in Discord that also plays in different bands, and it was just like, it was a nice like feeling, to just sit together and talk music again, because it's been a while since you did that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what kind of shows have become. Like that's your community. Those are the people you see the most, the people you spend the most time with, you bounce ideas off of. And I feel like we've kind of tragically lost a little bit of that community because of this. So when we shot a video for Through Bloodshot Eyes and all of that, when we did all that, we recruited members from the Denver music scene. So we have a buddy who also is a videographer and creates all of his own music videos and shot a video for us earlier last year. And then we have another guy who's strictly a musician, but also has a YouTube channel to help with like gear development and things like that. But he's been kind of stuck not being able to really do much because we can't really play all that much. So we brought him in to do lights and paid the guys to do the things that they needed to do to help us out, but at the same time maintaining those relationships, talking about what our different projects are up to, how we're trying to build and develop from here and go from there. And it just seems like one of those things that I feel like this pandemic has either strengthened scenes or hurt them in some capacity, because we can't see each other as much and work together as much. How have you guys kind of mitigated through that? Nick, you said through Discord conversations. Daniel, is your dad also been able to stay in contact or maybe work in studios?
Yeah, they've been doing like this live stream thing through like a local TV channel.
Mm-hmm.
So they broadcasted it on like Facebook and stuff, and people who wanted to join kind of a exclusive fan club thing could like make donations and stuff like that. So they've been trying to keep it afloat for sure.
Okay.
And then they did some like gala thing where they had like other bands come in and play, and they played like each other's songs. Because it's also kind of a special music scene, the one that my dad is in. It's called like dance fun, which is, I don't know, yeah, it's like dance music basically, like for old people, you know. My dad's gonna hate me.
It's pretty groovy. It's pretty groovy.
But it's like I don't know if there's like an equivalent to it in the rest of the world, but it's basically like live played music that people go out and dance to. And they play like original.
You know what I would call
it?
Sorry?
You know what I would call dansband?
No.
Swedish country.
Yeah, kinda.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
kind of. You kind of like Swedish. It would be country, but in a Swedish version.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit like that. I don't know.
Yeah, and then you mix that up with like a little bit of pop and a little bit of rock as well.
Yeah,
I guess
exactly.
country kind of mixed up with pop and rock these days, anyway. But
Yeah. Okay. I might have to check that out. That would be that'd be interesting to see what
you
that
can listen
like.
to like Lasse Steh. We can send it to you. We'll
Send me some. I want to listen to it.
Yeah, sure. So that's kind of what they've been up to. And personally, I don't know. I guess it's just nice those moments when we have gotten to meet friends. For example, when we had Joel from Aviana come down to act in the music video for Bleak, which he was a guest vocalist on. So just those moments when you get to meet the people again, it's nice.
Yeah. And we were in, you and me and Ludwig went to Stockholm last week to record some drums.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was really nice. I mean, like, the three of us spent like 10 hours total maybe in a car, back and forth. Yeah. And we went to Stockholm to record some drums. And I don't know, it was pretty nice. It kind of gave me like this energy boost or motivation boost again to actually work with the band, because it's been like some days you just sit at home. You just either I just go to work or I'm off work, I go to the gym and I go back home and I do nothing. I just sit by my computer because it's been so hard to go outside and do things. So that was pretty nice. That was real nice.
Yeah, it was a nice break from the everyday life and getting to be a little bit of a rock star again.
Yeah, man.
That nice feeling of like getting it's escapism for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. You know, long road and gas stations, and you go and buy super expensive things in a gas station.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a dream.
Felt like going on tour again, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So you mentioned Malmo. That's the
wow,
town.
That was crazy good.
Yeah, that was a really good pronunciation. Everyone says Malmo, but you actually said it with the O with the two dots over it.
Yeah.
Malmo.
Malmo.
That was good. Yeah, that was good.
So the reason I know that is so I'm from Colorado, and the greatest hockey player to ever play in the state of Colorado is Peter Forsberg.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes,
and
that's right.
So Peter the Great, as he's known here and probably everywhere because he is a big part of I think he actually owns Malmo now, the club there, or is part of the organization.
Red Hawks?
I think so.
Red Wings, sorry, Red Hawks. Red Wings, yeah. That's
how
much I know about hockey. Yeah.
But he owns one of the organizations out there, so that's how I know that.
Maybe it does, yeah.
But yeah, that's my connection to Sweden. But the other thing is there's another band, not really like more of a one creator, Vintergarden. Martin, I can never remember his last name, but he's the guy who created the marble machine. You ever seen the video of the guy playing one song on a giant wooden marble machine, marbles dropping on a vibraphone?
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that one actually. Isn't he like spinning a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he from Malmö?
I think he's from Sweden, but I can't remember exactly where. Let me pull this up real quick and I can tell you where they're from. But he's been like working on this one project forever. No, they're from Gothenburg.
Gothenburg, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Martin Mullen is his name. But he's been working on this machine for like 4 years now, and he's trying to build it so that they can make it and go around the world and do this world tour.
Damn, that would be cool.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Is the music scene in Sweden is extremely diverse, as I'd assume it would be? Like there's got to be tons of different styles of music there. Like
yeah, definitely.
What your father plays to what you guys play.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's the stretch, basically.
What would you say is the most popular out there right now? Like
Swedish pop or hip hop, I would say.
Yeah.
Really?
Definitely. Pop and hip hop, sure.
Yeah. We have a lot of Swedish artists that I don't know. For example, if you know Sara Larsson.
I don't, unfortunately.
Okay, she's she's international, but then we have a lot of like artists singing just in Swedish, and they're really big over here and play like really big festivals and stuff like that. We have this guy. He's called Håkan Hellström.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like I don't want to say too much because I don't really listen to him. I've seen him live, and he's really, really good. But I mean, like he can play in front of like 10,000 people or something, and he just sings in Swedish. So I think that scene is really big as well. But yeah, I think hip hop and like Swedish pop would be.
Nice.
If we were looking at like not like international level, if we're looking like in Swedish music, so to speak.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, because I can definitely tell you, as an American on the outside, your metal scene, at least in Europe and in Scandinavia in general, is way bigger than ours here. As
really?
It sounds
really?
like I have more access to European bands like yourself, Eminence, Captives out of the UK. Bands like that, I get more references to them in my world than bands from the United States. And I've lived here my whole life.
Yeah.
But like discovering bands is easier, it seems like, if I'm looking for them, to find like European bands like yourselves. Eminence was another one I found, I think, through Dreambound as well, or through listening to you guys, which is kind of cool. I would have loved to see that tour like come to America, or I could come there, because I would love to see you guys play together. That would be a hell of a show.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, we were supposed to play now in November, but yeah, it didn't happen. But Eminence are really good guys. We all live pretty close to each other, yeah, so we're pretty good friends with them, and we've been hanging out sometimes, and we've been talking about it before. Like it would be really fun to play together. Yeah, I actually did guest vocals with Eminence on a festival in Malmö last summer, I think.
Nice.
And it was it was fun, but it was scary. And the first thing I did when I walked on stage was a big voice crack. So it was it was just like, okay, that was
It was good though.
Yeah,
it was fun. It was fun.
I can tell you I've done that as well. So I've been fortunate enough to tour with bands like Drowning Pool. And Seven Dust from.
Wow.
Yeah, and I actually got to share stage with Drowning Pool. They used to close every show with Bodies, and so they'd have like members of the bands come on stage and guest vocal those and sing with them, and
that's cool.
It was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But there was a band from Australia, a metalcore band called A Breach of Silence. They're from Brisbane, and they had a song. It was the title track of the record they released when we were on the road with them, called The Darkest Road. and we were the opening band and they were after us. And so their vocalist one day got a hair up his butt. I was the bassist of the band that I was in, but I did backup vocals, and I'm now bassist and vocalist in the band I'm in now. But he's like, you should come up and sing with us. And I was like, I don't know the words. He's like, listen to it tonight and come up on stage with us tonight. And I came up, and first line I cracked harder than I've ever cracked harder than I've ever cracked in my life in front of 700 people. And I was laughing afterwards. They were making
It's a horrible feeling when you're on stage, but you kind of laugh it off when you go off. It's,
Yeah.
It's
fun.
Yeah, it sucks, but
it happens.
Yeah. Sorry, my dog is trying to eat me now.
Trying to eat you now? How old is your dog, Daniel?
He's 7 months.
Oh.
He's it's like 27 kilo puppy.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, are you guys hearing the TV?
We heard it for a minute, but it's fine now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's my roommate.
Yeah, it's okay. We have those. My girlfriend's actually doing work while we're doing this, so she's been.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're working from home here because we can. I work in television advertising for a major cable company in America, and then my girlfriend works in tax. So we were both able to really be able to nicely work through everything, which was good.
Yeah.
What's your dog's name?
His name is Grim.
Is Grim?
Yeah, Grim. It's kind of I think it's a German name. Like his brother's Grim. You know?
Okay, yeah.
I think it's German. I don't remember. But,
I think so. It's either that or Dutch. Do you have any pets, Nick?
No, I want to have a mini pig really bad. I love pigs.
Mini pig.
Yeah, I just love them. And no, but mini pig or a cat. I love cats as well. But I'm not allowed to have one where I live right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll just wait until I find my own place because I share an apartment with my friend right now.
Okay.
It's pretty fun. But I want to have a cat. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Didn't you want a mini pig?
I want a mini pig and a cat.
There you go. They could be best of friends.
Yeah, they're supposed to be named Charlie and Bob. Yeah, I've been planning this, dude, for years.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How often do you guys get asked about PewDiePie? Too often, or never?
Never. No.
Good. Okay. Good.
It hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
Now we have.
Yeah. Now
it's
actually
fun that It's actually fun you bring this up because I've been watching his videos like back and forth over a couple of years, but then last week I had my relapse and I've been like binging his videos like every night.
Yeah. He made something a while back. I hope my pronunciation is good. Did you watch any of the cooking videos he did?
Oh, I watched when he did
Is it knäckebröd?
Knäckebröd. Yeah, knäckebröd.
Yeah.
But no, I watched when he did this like hot dog with the bun from his old job.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the mashed potatoes on it.
Yes.
Yeah, it looked really gross, to be honest. Well, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, he's fun. He's fun to watch. Yeah.
He's a character. It's always funny because like he often talks that his Swedish has started to really break down because he doesn't use it as often as he used to. But I guess the question that leads into that is Swedish hard to learn as a second language? And do you think there's a reason behind it? Maybe. I've been looking into learning like unique languages that are not Latin based or Germanic in nature, like English.
Well, I've heard that Swedish actually. Oh, sorry, Daniel. Go.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to say the same thing. That it's quite what we've heard. It's quite hard to learn. That we heard from like friends that are not like original speakers.
Yeah, I've also heard that like people trying to learn the language and that it's been pretty tough because it's so far from their own language. You know, they're first language.
Grammatically and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, it's easy for us. But
I blame hockey to be able to say certain last names and certain spellings and understanding what they mean. So that helps me with specific last names and structures. You can generally the joke is in my realm of NHL fandom that you can guess which Scandinavian country they're from based on which letters are used and how many vowels are in it. If there's a ton of vowels, they're Finnish.
Yep.
If there's
Like whatever.
And if there's a V in it or a holm of some kind, it's generally Swedish. So like Holmqvist. Or it ends in a berg. You're generally safe with Swedish.
Andersson.
Yeah.
Holm.
Johansson.
Yeah. Johansson. Yeah. Exactly.
And then if it's Norwegian, it has a scarcity of vowels, but a lot of random consonants that don't seem to be pronounced, like a lot of J's.
Yep.
And then Iceland, it's got a G in it somewhere. That was the joke.
Somewhere, always.
Yeah.
But there's actually one hockey player, because I grew up watching a lot of watching the national team play.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we had one player. His name was, I don't know if you heard about Douglas Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's Swedish, but his first and last name is American, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Douglas Murray, because it's so not Swedish.
Yeah. There's a player who actually plays for the Avalanche who is a Swedish national whose parents are from I want to say Kazakhstan, and his name's Andrei Burakovsky. So like the most non-Swedish name ever, but he plays under the Swedish flag. So it's always fun to see that. Our current captain is originally from Stockholm, but grew up playing in Canada, Gabriel Landeskog. So, but yeah, it's always fun to like learn proper pronunciations of places. And I have a French last name, so I get it butchered a lot in when people are English speakers.
What was your last name?
My last name is Lebois.
Lebois.
Yeah, it means the wood or the forest.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You get Lebois a whole lot.
Yeah, I get Lebois all the time.
Lebois. Oh.
There's a town. The boys. There's a city in Idaho here called Boise, which is actually supposed to be Bois. But you know, everything gets Anglified at some point. But gentlemen, it's been about an hour, so I appreciate you guys sticking around and hanging on. Nick, this is the longest your internet has held out, so I hope that
I try not to move because I have to connect my internet from my phone, and I don't want to touch the cable, so I'm just like trying to sit as far back as possible.
Awesome. But this is the time that you guys get to promote whatever you want to promote right now. Opportunity to promote your pages, anything you want. Right now, gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Go ahead. Thank you guys for listening to Noija, and if you haven't checked out our latest album, Through Fire, All Things Are Renewed, we would appreciate it so much. And hope to see you one day.
Definitely. Thanks, guys. That was perfect. All of everything will be linked in the description below. All of the information to find these guys, find their music, everything will be in the description. I'll have things posted around for the videos throughout. YouTube has like those things that pop out in the corner. I would love to have you guys back on again when Ludwig and Max can be on as well, and talk to you guys more about just general things. This was a lot of fun, and I definitely am a bigger fan now, and getting to talk to you guys on a more personal level as well. So thank you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been super fun.
definitely. Well, enjoy the rest of your night, guys. I have to get back to work.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks,
good luck.
guys. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk soon.
Take care, man.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace.
It almost feels like someone else is living my life. 'Cause it almost feels